So let us start with the new chapter, Interpretation of Statutes. Let's cover this. Every line and point inside this is not important for exam. Whatever is important for exam is three important concepts. Number one, listening? Primary rules of interpretation, secondary rules of interpretation. First one, primary rules of interpretation. Second one, secondary rules of interpretation. Third one, internal and external aid to interpretation. Third area. Fourth one, miscellaneous. How many are there? Four concepts you can take. Four slots. These are four types. Any question can come in exam. Listening? First one, primary rules of interpretation. Second one, secondary rules of interpretation. Third one, internal aid of interpretation, external aid of interpretation. Third. Fourth one is other miscellaneous small concepts inside that. Okay? First listen carefully. What are all the important things? See here. This is what I said. Even study material also said the same. First two are just only for self-reading purposes. Rules of interpretation, aid of interpretation, and other miscellaneous. These are the three areas we are going to cover now. Clear or not, everyone? Okay. Let us start with the concept clearly. First 7-8 pages, only basic examples they have given. First you come to internal aid of interpretation. First come there. Internal aid of interpretation. Okay. Page number 2.25. Page number 2.25. Internal aid of interpretation. Aid means help. Okay. Internal help means, enough, please listen carefully. Shall we? Yes, listen. First thing, let me first explain you the concept clearly. What is this internal aid and external aid? Okay, let us understand that. First one, point number one. Internal aid of interpretation means, internal aid of interpretation means when you open the Bail Act is also called as a statute. That's why the name of the chapter is Interpretation of Statutes. Statutes means the main Bail Act. When you open the statute, inside the Bail Act, certain things will always help you for interpretation. What are those internal helps? Listen. Number one, long title. Number two, preamble. Number three, heading. Number four, marginal notes. Number five, definitions. Number six, number seven, proviso. Number eight, explanation. Number nine, schedule. Last one is not a internal aid. All of this put together. Now listen carefully. Let me explain the meaning of all these things, and I will also make you to write a short notes on that. If comes in examination, you have to write them. Okay? Please keep the heading in your notes. Summary of interpretation of statutes. Okay? Keep the heading. What you have written? Summary of, from examination point of view, whatever I am giving the notes today, okay, more than enough for your exams. That 10 marks will pakka will come once you prepare these notes properly. Okay? Write down there. First, topic 1. Internal aid of interpretation. Internal aid of interpretation. Okay? Internal aid of interpretation. How many internal aids are there in interpretation? 9 aids will be there. 9 helps will be there. Means within the act, there are 9 things which will help you for interpretation purposes. Listening everyone? First one, keep the heading, long title. Long title. First listen, I will explain. After that you can read. Okay? See here. What is the name of your law paper? Corporate and other laws. Corporate law, how many acts are there? Corporate law, how many acts are there? 2 acts are there. Number 1, Companies Act, the Companies Act 2013, and second one, the LLP Act 2008. Correct? Answer, yeah? Okay. So, 2 acts are there. One is the Companies Act, second one is the LLP Act. Okay. From this, I wanted to tell you one thing. Name of the act is the Companies Act 2013. Okay. The LLP Act 2008. These are called as short titles. These are called as what? Short title. I will explain you one point. Tell me. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 covers what? The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016 will cover what? What will be there inside that particular act? About income tax payments? Answer. Preservation of foreign exchange. What will be there? What will be there? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, what will be there? About insolvency proceedings will be there. Correct or not? A person who don't know that act can easily tell that inside insolvency and bankruptcy will be there. Who is helping you to understand that? Short title. That's why short title became one of the aid of interpretation. Understood the point or not? Now tell me. Shall we? Yes, what is the purpose of foreign exchange law? FEMA. We completed just now, na? Tell me, what is the purpose of FEMA? Consolidate and amend the law relating to foreign exchange. Correct or not? Yes, who help you in doing that? Preamble will help. Preamble is called as a long title. Preamble is called as a long title. See here. Long title, preamble are 2 different concepts. But in reality, long title and preamble are same. When the acts are written before 2006, first heading of the name of the act, short title, the Companies Act 2013. In the brackets, they used to write a small line preamble. Below again, they used to write a big preamble. At that time, people used to tell, name of the act is called as short title, bracket content is called as long title, full explanation is called as a preamble. 2006 after, they withdrawn that. Now, in the today's act scenario, there is only one concept. Which is that? Preamble, directly. Means, once upon a time, long title and preamble are different. What is different? Long title and preamble are different. Now, long title and preamble both are same. Listening? The Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013. Short title. The LLP Act 2008. An act to consolidate and amend the law relating to the foreign exchange in India. It's a long title once upon a time. Now it is called as a preamble. This is not what I said. This is what Institute material also said. Once upon a time, preambles are long titles. Now, there is no separate long title. Long title became preamble. Everyone understood the concept clearly? Okay. See here. First read and then write. An enactment means an act would have what it is known as short title. So, name of the act is called as what? Short title. And also a long title. Short title merely identifies the enactment. Means the Companies Act 2013. That's all. It just identifies the act. Which one? Short title. Long title, on the other hand, describes the enactment. Which will just identify? Short title will, this is Companies Act, this is LLP Act, this is a FEMA Act. Description will be given in long title. Description will be given in long title. Now, that long title business is not there. Instead of long title, what came now? Preamble, which gives you the full explanation of what is the purpose of a law. Okay. Next. It is now settled that long title of an act is a part of the act. We can therefore refer it to ascertain the object, scope and purpose of the act. Now tell me, now it is settled, he said. That means in the today's scenario, in the today's scenario, it was made as a part of the act with the name called as a preamble. So therefore, preamble will help us to understand. Continue. Object, scope and purpose of the act. What is the purpose? Everything will be said in the form of preamble. Understood the point up to here clearly? Yeah. That's all. More than enough. I will ask you 3 questions. Answer and write. Short title will just identify the act. Long title will describe the act. Now, in the today's scenario, long title is called as a preamble. What it specifies? Object, scope and purpose of the act. Over. Right on. Point number 1. Point number 1. Name of the act is called as short title. Name of the act is called as short title. Write in a easy language. Name of the act is called as short title. Number 2. Short title merely identifies the act. Short title merely identifies the act. Merely identifies the act. Point number 3. Long title describes the act. Long title describes the act. Next one. Okay. In the present scenario, next point. In the present scenario, long title is made as a part of the act. In the present scenario, long title is made as a part of the act. Is made as a part of the act, which describes, you should tell, which describes what? Object, scope and purpose of the act. Which describes the object, scope and purpose of the act. Okay. Next. Previously, long title and preamble used to be there. Long title is basic description they used to give. Preamble, more explanation will be given. Listening? But now there is no such concept. Preamble, long title. Okay. Listening? Previously, who will more explain? Preamble. Gives more explanation than long title. But now once the long title concept is lifted in India, everything is explained in the form of preamble. So same, what answer you have written for the long title, same answer also for preamble. What preamble will contain? What preamble will contain? It will contain the purpose, object, scope and purpose of the act. It describes like a long title, better than long title. Better than long title, once upon a time. Now that concept is not there. Read. Preamble expresses the scope, object and purpose of the act more comprehensively than long title. Once upon a time. Continue. Preamble may recite the ground and cause of making the statute. That means why you made the act. What is the reason? Why you made an act? What is the reason? Will be explained in the preamble. Okay. Next. Evil which it sought to be remedied. Evil means not go into devil, etc. Evil means what bad it wanted to control. Feral, something is there. It is not that good. Therefore, they made an act called as FEMA. Why FEMA was made? To facilitate external trade and payment. Morning we read, na? Purpose of FEMA is what? Regulation of foreign exchange, prohibition of payments. Facilitate external trade and payments. Facilitate external. That's the preamble of FEMA. Are you understanding or not? So, what it wanted to do? Cause of making the statute and evil it wanted to remedy. Like a long title, preamble is also a part of the enactment and legitimately used for construing it. Legitimately used for construing means interpreting. Preamble can be used for interpretation. However, preamble does not override plain provision of the act. But if the wording of the statute gives rise to the doubts as to proper construction, for example, where the words or phrase have more than one meaning and a doubt arises as to which of the two meanings is intended in the act, preamble can and ought to be referred to in order to arrive at a proper construction. I will explain you the concept clearly. First, give some time and read this. First point, everyone understood? Write down that. Keep the heading, preamble. 4-5 points will come. Short notes we will write. Write down. Preamble. Write down. Point 1. Point number 1. It expresses scope, object. It expresses scope, object, and purpose of the act. Scope, object, and purpose of the act. Better than long title. Better than long title. Second point, point number 2. Point number 2. Preamble expresses cause of making the statute. Cause of making the statute. And remedy it want to provide. And remedy it want to provide. Remedy it want to provide. Next, point number 2 or 3? 3. Write down. Preamble is a part of the act. Preamble is a part of the act. Okay, part of the act. Next, point number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? 4. Point number 4. Preamble cannot override. Preamble cannot override plain provisions of the act. Preamble cannot override plain provisions of the act. Plain provisions of the meaning I will tell you. First write down. Preamble cannot override the plain provisions of the act. Sir, what does this mean? What do you mean plain provisions of the act? Listen, I will explain. Shall we? Yes, if the language used in the act, has no second meaning, there is only one meaning that can be given to that. Preamble cannot override that. Meaning I will help you. See here. Shall we? Every office will have a reception. Correct or not? Every big corporate office will have a reception. Reception is what? It's the beginning of an office. Okay, na? Reception will be there at the end of the building. Always it will be there at the beginning. Reception will always help you to understand basics about the organization. To whom you wanted to meet, everything will be available at a reception. Correct or not? Now listen carefully. Reception is like a preamble. It will tell what is there on a overall basis in this organization. If you ask at the reception, what are the services provided in academy, they will tell that, so these are the 3 types of courses, CA, CMA, CS. Like this they will tell. There will be another person to whom you should go to understand much in detail about these 3 courses. Correct or not? That means try to understand how a reception for an office building, preamble is for the act. Preamble, I can't explain everything. Overall, what an act can do, I will tell. Listening? You are reading some section. Okay? It is talking about something else which is not covered by preamble. Immediately you should not tell that this is against to preamble. Preamble, I can't cover everything. Okay, na? If reception can do everything, why managing director? If reception like everything is resolved, why MD? Why other managers in an organization? Reception is to deal with the things. Reception is to tell the organization behavior. Overall organization, how it is to understand reception will be useful. Yes, understanding or not? In the same way, there is a lot of difference between preamble and the original act. Preamble, I can't cover everything. Preamble will tell the overall essence of an act. Listening? Likewise, I will give you another example. Every movie will have a story plot. Yes or no? Every movie will have a story plot. The main plot of the story will be there. Around that, the remaining story will run. Listening? So when I write a plot of a story, around that so many things will happen. You should not tell that every scene is not as per the story plot. It will not be. They will interlink all the scenes to that main story plot. Same way, this particular preamble will contain overall concept inside the act. Listening or not? I will give an example from Companies Act directly. Listen carefully. Companies Act, there is one section called as section 464. Which section? 464. Illegal association is the name of the section. Everyone repeat. Illegal association section talks about partnership firms. Talks about partnership firm. Preamble of Companies Act will talk about companies. But 464 section is talking about illegal associations other than company. Then you should not tell that section 464 is against to Companies Act. Preamble of companies, they said, but here you are covering partnerships and other association. You should not shout like this because preamble can't cover everything in the act. Understood the point or not? Therefore, preamble cannot be satisfied in each and every section. Preamble is the only way. Preamble is the overall view now. That's all. In that overall view, some may be covered, some may not be covered. Are you understanding the point or not? But one thing I can tell. There is one example. Fastly I will cover this. Regular law class, I said this. If anyone attended, you can understand this. There is one case law happened. In that case law, preamble is used for interpretation by the court. Hawkins Cooker's case. Anyone attended regular law? You might have heard about this case law. I said in the class. Hawkins Cooker's case law happened. Cipla case law happened. Boomer India case law happened. 3 case laws happened totally. Same concept. I will explain fastly, not like in normal session. I will complete it very fast. Listen carefully. Hawkins Cooker's case law. Clear? Under Central Excise Act. Which act? They said like this. Whenever you manufacture a cooker, okay? Or first I will explain about the Central Excise Act. Central Excise Act said that excise duty will be paid. Everyone repeat. Will be paid if 3 conditions are satisfied. Number 1, they should be movable goods. First, there should be there should be manufacture of movable goods. Everyone, there should be a second one. Those goods must be excisable. Goods must be excisable. They should be marketable. They should be marketable. If all conditions are satisfied, excise duty will be levied on that. You manufactured, but it does not have any marketability. No excise duty. Listening? You manufactured something. You have manufactured something, but that has marketability and that is a manufacture, but no excisability. Sir, what is excisability? Certain goods are outside the purview of excise duty, like agricultural produce. On agricultural commodity, there is no excise duty. Agricultural produce will come or not? To protect the farmer's income, government taken a decision that though paddy bag is having marketability, though it is a production or manufacture, but it don't have excise duty because those are non-excisable goods. Those are non-excisable. Likewise, now non-GST goods are there. Petrol. Petrol is under GST or not under GST? Not under GST. Therefore, it's called as a non-GST goods. Likewise, non-excisable once upon a time before GST. So, did you understand the point or not? I wanted to levy excise duty. Tell me what are the 3 conditions I should satisfy. Faster. First one, it should be a manufacture. It should be excisable. It should be marketable. If three conditions are satisfied, what will be levied? Answer. Fastly, I will complete the example. Listen carefully. There is a company called Hakin Cookers. Manufactured pressure cookers. Okay. It manufactured base. It manufactured body. It manufactured top. It manufactured handles. It manufactured stickers, labels, everything except whistle. Except whistle, it doesn't manufacture. Who doesn't manufacture? Hawkins did not manufacture whistle. Sir, without manufacture, what they used to buy? Some other person will manufacture the whistle. Hawkins cooker will buy that whistle. Now tell me, Hawkins cooker manufactured the base or not? Body or not? Top or not? Handles or not? Stickers or not? Whistle or not? It did not manufacture. It has bought. It purchased that whistle. Total cost of cooker 1,000. In that whistle 50 rupees. Whistle? Now tell me. I have to pay tax excise duty on 1,000 and 950. How much part of that 1,000 is a manufacture? How much part of the 1,000 is a manufacture? Remaining is a manufacturer bought out. Answer. Therefore, Hawkins Cookers company said that as per the preamble, whenever there is a manufacture, excisable and marketable, pressure cooker is marketable, excisable, and moreover, it's a manufacture. Therefore, I will pay only to the extent of manufacture amount. Therefore, I will pay tax on 950, but not on 1,000, they said. Central Excise Commissioner said that no, like that you should not think. You should pay on 1,000, they said. Matter went to the court. Court has given a judgment saying that, see the preamble properly. Preamble, they said that it should be a manufacture, excisable and marketable. Therefore, you should pay on 950 or 1,000. Court said 1,000. Saying that without whistle, cooker is not marketable. That means without whistle, it is a cooker, not a pressure cooker. Cooker is to boil things, or to cooker is to boil. Boil means a normal container also you can boil things. Cooker is for boiling, cooker is for cooking. Cooking can happen only if there is a pressure. Pressure is regulated by whistle. Without whistle, if you use cooker, it will blast on your face. Are you understanding or not? Now tell me, cooker get its marketability only with whistle. Therefore, whistle, though it is a bought out item, without that cooker is not marketable. Therefore, including the cost of whistle, you have to pay excise duty. Now tell me, court has used what as a interpretation? That's how I wanted to tell. That means when a problem comes in interpretation, sometimes preamble can be used by the court to give a right meaning for the particular problem. Are you understanding or not? That means preamble can be used as a aid of interpretation by the courts or not. When the language is plain, directly apply the act, not the preamble. But when problem come like the case, Hawkins Cooker's case, at that time, preamble has to be analyzed properly and used as a aid for interpretation. Understood the point clearly? What points? How many points you have written? What is the fourth point? Cannot override the plain provision of the act. Continue. Point number 5. Point number 5. If the wordings of the act, give rise to the doubts, if the wordings of the act give rise to the doubts, okay, then preamble can be referred. Preamble can be referred to arrive at proper meaning. Proper meaning. Understood the logic clearly now? That's all. So many examples are given. Don't read and write those in exams. Don't waste your time. Those are only for your understanding sake. Okay, next. How many internal helps we have completed? Long title, preamble completed. Correct? Next one is the heading. Keep the heading. Right on. Point number 1 or 2 or 3. Hey. 2 things you completed already. One is long title. Second one, preamble. Third one, heading. Heading. Okay, listen. If you remember, and if you have attended regular sessions, you might have known all these I used to discuss in the first beginning 6-7 classes of our law. All these, what you are reading now. Do you remember a word called as a chapters? I will explain, no problem. Listen. It will be extremely difficult for anyone to spot where a particular section is. Therefore, we will be having the chapters. I will give you an example. I will give you a book having 500 pages. 500 pages, some content is there. I ask you to tell where a particular topic is. How can you tell? Index you will go, check the page number and you will directly go. Index not there. It will be easier, difficult? Extremely difficult to know where a particular topic is. Correct or not? Index will be having the name and page number. Correct? Likewise, heading is called as a chapter. It contains the name of the chapter and corresponding sections. I said you, listening, I asked you, open the section relating to appointment of a director. Appointment of director. You don't know where it is. You open the index. Index, nothing is there. You started reading. After 1 month, you found that it is there in section 149. Listening, after that, you came to know that it is in section number 149. So, 1 month time it has taken for you to identify. But if the chapter names are given in the index, listening everyone, if the names are given in the index, how easy it will be? 1 minute you can identify. That's why for identification purposes, say, heading concept came. Heading in this point is also called as a name of the chapter. In Companies Act, there are 29 chapters. How many? In your exams, 11 chapters are applicable. First chapter, preliminary. Second chapter, incorporation. Third chapter, prospectus. Fourth chapter, share capital. Fifth chapter, deposits. Sixth chapter, charges. Seventh chapter, management administration. Eighth chapter, dividends. Ninth chapter, account. 10th chapter, audit and auditors. And 24th chapter will be foreign companies also came now. From this, what you have to understand, how many chapters are there in Companies Act? Answer, yeah. I wanted to know how to issue preference shares. Which chapter I should read? Number you should tell. Chapter 4, name, share capital, sections, section number 43 to 72. Now it is easy to identify where a section is or not. I wanted to know how to pay dividend. Which chapter? Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Name of the chapter. Declaration and payment of dividend. Section numbers range. Range of section starts from 123 to 127. 123 to? That's how chapters will help you to identify. Are you understanding the point or not? Let's read. Read. If we glance through any act, like what I said, we would generally find that a number of sections referring to a particular subject are grouped together. Tell me, what is the chapter 2? Arey, loudly. I wanted to start a company. Which chapter I should read? Answer, yeah. I wanted to know how to write the name clause. How to write objects clause. How to prepare MOA. How to prepare AOA. How to alter MOA. How to alter AOA. Why all these are in the same chapter? Because all belong to the same group. That's what he also want to tell. Number of sections referring to particular subject. Here, what is the particular subject? Incorporation. All grouped into one set. Now, did you understand the meaning? Sometimes in the form of chapters, prefixed by the headings or titles. These headings or title prefix to sections or group of section can legitimately referred for the purpose of construing the enactment or its part. Simply to tell, whenever I write a chapter name, you can blindly believe that only that content will be there inside that. For example, declaration of payment of dividend, name of the chapter. Internally within, you will have winding up provisions. You will have share capital. What will be there? Dividends. That's what he wanted to tell. Everyone understood the concept clearly? Write down. Point number 1. What we are writing? Heading or title of the chapter. Write down. Generally, sections belonging to a particular subject, sections belonging to a particular subject are grouped together in the form of chapters. Grouped together in the form of chapters. Okay. Next, point number 2. These headings or chapters, can be legitimately referred to understand that part of the act. Simply to tell, I wanted to know about dividends. Only dividends I want. Only that part of the act I wanted to know. Where to go and read? Chapter 8. What is the name? Declaration payment of dividend. Understood the point? That's what you want to tell. Okay? Next one. Read and then we will write. Read. The headings of different portions of statute can be referred to determine the sense of any doubtful expression in a section ranged under any particular heading. For example, I wanted to know about share capital. If you have a doubt regarding a subject related to share capital, that's what he said, a doubtful expression. For example, I got a doubt about, sir, I will give you one classic example. I am reading section 179. Please follow the point, everyone. I am reading which section? In section 179, they use the word buyback. I got a doubt. So what is this buyback mean? What to do? You will sleep if you get a doubt. What you will do? You have to go to the buyback concept. Which section it is? 68. 68 section la buyback is there. 68 section falls under which chapter? Chapter number 4. That's how chapter settings will be useful, he is telling. When a particular word gives rise to a doubtful expression, happily go to the chapter, check where it will fall, directly read that chapter, you can understand. For example, I wanted to know how buyback is made. Where to go? Chapter number 4 you go. In that which section you should go? 68 you go. Buyback full details will be there. Read that and again come back to 179. Yes, sir. Understood the point clearly? Yeah. That's what he wanted to tell. Write down. The headings or chapters can be referred. The headings or chapters. The headings or chapters can be referred. To determine a doubtful word or expression. Did you understand the example for the doubtful word or expression? Doubtful word or expression in a section. Ranged in that particular chapter. Okay? Next. Shall we continue? I will tell one example. I will ask you question, you tell now. Okay? Shall we? I am reading section number 232. 232. 232 section I am reading. When I am reading 232 section, I found one word called as memorandum and articles. I got a doubt. I don't know what is memorandum. I don't know what is articles. Say example. What to do now? Where to go? Go to chapter 2. Okay. Go to the chapters first. Read the heading. Incorporation related. So obviously articles and memorandum will be there in the incorporation. Directly we'll go there and read. Now the doubtful expression is what? What is the doubtful expression in my example? Memorandum. You go to the incorporation. Listening or not, everyone? That's how we will read and understand. Am I clear? Write down. Last point. Point number 4. I'm giving all important points only. Write down. Point number 4. Headings may be sometimes referred. Headings may be sometimes referred to know. Headings may be sometimes referred to know scope of a section like a preamble. Scope of the section like a preamble. Scope of the section like a preamble. Scope of the section like a preamble. Tell me, preamble can help us to understand the scope of an act or not? Chapter also will do the same. Obvious answer. Shall I tell you one example? Share capital chapter, what will be there? About winding up will be there. You open share capital chapter, yeah. What will be there inside that? Anything relating to the share capital only will be there. They will not discuss about winding up of company. Means preamble of those sections will be said in the chapter. I will ask you a question, answer. What is the preamble of section 123 to 127? 123 to 127. What is the preamble? Anything relating to the dividends under Companies Act. Dividends under. I wanted to pay dividend, 123. I wanted to transfer to unpaid dividend account, 124. I wanted to transfer to IEPF account, 125. Listening. I wanted to know the punishments for contravention, 127. I wanted to keep the dividend in abeyance, 126. Over. Anything is relating to dividend, payment of dividend, unpaid dividend, IEPF dividend, contravention for payment of dividend, dividends in abeyance. All 5 sections are discussing about dividends only. That's all. That was said in the heading itself. Now, did you understand the meaning of that point or not? With that, we have completed the concept of a heading or title of the chapter. Right on. Next one. What is the next internal aid? Next internal aid. No. Marginal notes. Marginal notes. Okay, na? Shall we? Listen, I will first explain. Marginal notes you cannot see in the bare acts. What is a marginal notes? Listen first. Left side, right side, margin gaps are there na book ke. Once upon a time they used to write on name of the section on left or right hand side. For example, I will show you the bare act. See here, live learn I will show, no confusion. See here, left hand side or right hand side. I will open the bare act and I will show you. Look at the scenario. Companies Act 2013. See here. This is official MCA website. Please listen to that point. Companies Act. See the screen. Randomly, I'm opening one point here. Okay, randomly, I'm picking one point. Some amendments are there. That amendment document I'm opening. If it opens when we click, why it becomes MCA website? It will not. Website not working. Just wait a minute. If it doesn't work, I will show you in tomorrow's class. At least I will explain. If it opens, well and good. Yes. Bare Act, huh? Give it once. If it doesn't open, at least I can show that. No, no. That is not marginal notes. No, no. This is not marginal notes. Sir, okay. See here. I will try for an alternative. If that also doesn't work, tomorrow I will download the document and I will show you. Okay. See the screen once. Please, see the screen here. Don't waste time. Okay. See here. Okay. See this? Yes, we got it. See there. This is a amendment ordinance. Generally, original act there will not be marginal notes. Marginal notes will be always written for amendment or for the rules, etc. How original Bare Act will look like? See here. See the screen once. This is called as a chapter names. Just we read na? Roughly I will show you as an example how original section heading will be. Like this they will write. Section 6, Act to override memorandum articles, etc. That's all over. It is written on the section, left side margin, right side margin. This name of the section was written along with the section, left hand side or right hand side margins. Along with the sections they have written. It's not written in the margins. Clear? Tell me. Act to override memorandum and articles. What does it mean? Act is superior to articles and memorandum. That's the overall meaning of that section. Correct or not? Always heading of a section will help us to understand what will be there inside that section. Heading help us to know what will be there inside the section. Clear? Tell me, I wanted to know how to amend the articles. How to amend the articles. I wanted to know how to amend the articles. To know the procedure to amend the articles, should I read section 6? Section 6 is to know how to amend the articles or to know the superiority of act. Second question. Listening? I wanted to incorporate one person company. Okay, na? Should I read section 6 for that? No. Are you understanding the point? There is section 3 called as the formation of company. For that I have to read for one person company. That means section heading help us to know the preamble of that section. Are you understanding the point or not? Sections will have section heading. Sections will have. Amendments will not have headings. Amendment will have marginal notes. Amendment will have. I will show you the example. Live example is there before us now. See here. This is Act Amendment Ordinance. Very good. See, left hand margin. Like that they will write. These are called as marginal notes. Okay. Which section is amended? First, which section is amended? Section 2. Section 2 is written new or there are amendments. Therefore, they will not write name of the section now. If name of the section, it continues with the section. Since they wanted to tell what is happening in that amendment, they will write like this. What they have written? Amendment of section 2. Now tell me, what will be there inside this? All amendments only will be there. What will be there? All amendments only will be there. Entire section 2 will not be there. What only will be there? Amendments only will be there. That's it. See, like this they will give. Left, right side margin. What they have written? Amendment of section 12. Full section 12 will be there. Amendments only will be there. Amendments will be there. Like that. Amendment of section 14. Amendment of section 53. Amendment of section 64, 77. Like that they will write. Now did you understand the marginal notes clearly? It may be written either on the left hand margin or on the right hand margin. I will ask one question. Tell the correct answer. Will it be forming part of the main act? Marginal notes will be there in the main act. Will not be there. It will be found only in the amendment notes, etc. Okay, na? That's what even study material wanted to convey. Hopefully everyone understood the logic behind it. Okay, write down. See here. First read this. Marginal notes are summaries and the side notes often found at the side of the section or group of section in the act purporting to sum up the effect of the section or section. They are not a part of enactment. Enactment it will not be there. Continue. For they were present, but they were not present when the act was passed in the parliament, but inserted after the act has been so passed. That's what I am also telling. Amendment will come after the act is passed. Amendment will come before the act is passed. After the act is passed. That's why marginal notes will come after the act is passed. That's why they will not write as a section heading. They will write on the left hand or right hand. Clear, everyone? Right on. Marginal notes. Marginal notes are the summaries which are found at the side of a section, which are found at the side of a section. Okay, which sum up the overall effect of the section. Which sum up the overall effect of the section. Point number 2. Which sum up the overall effect of the section. Point 2. They are not the part of enactment. They are not the part of enactment. Okay, next one. Point number 3. Point number 3. They are not present. They are not present when the act was passed in the parliament. Did you understand the meaning? They are not present when the act was passed in the parliament, but inserted after the act is so passed. But inserted after the act is so passed. Okay, last point. Write down. Marginal notes to the Constitution of India. Marginal notes to the Constitution of India as passed by, morning I told you in a Constituent Assembly. I told or not? That's what. See here. Marginal notes to the Constitution of India as passed by Constituent Assembly. As passed by Constituent Assembly. I told you in the morning when I started. As passed by Constituent Assembly can be used in interpreting the articles. Can be used in interpreting the articles. But articles means not articles of association. Constitutional article number will be there, that article. Don't get confused. Understood the point or not, everyone? Okay. Next. Definitions I will discuss later. First, let us write down the illustration. Sir, how many points we completed? 4. What are the 4? Long title, preamble, heading. Next one is marginal notes. Next one, keep the heading illustrations. 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 Shall we continue? So simply to understand, illustrations will be containing the examples. Illustration will be containing the, sir, entire Contract Act contains illustrations. You might have read in Foundation. Contract Act, every point after Mr. A sold a horse to Mr. B, he mentioned to sell a black horse. Do you remember the point or not? Examples are given by the study material or not? Those are not examples created by ICAI. Those are given by the lawmaker only in the form of illustrations. Am I clear? Illustrations are nothing but examples. Okay, read. We would find that many, though not all, sections have illustrations appended to them. Appended means attached to them. These illustrations follow the text of the sections and therefore do not form part of the section. Illustration is not a section. Illustrations are used to understand the section. Used to? Now tell me, you answer me. What is the difference between section and examples? Example is a part of the section. Example help you to understand the section. Help you to understand the section. That's why illustration became an aid of interpretation. To understand the section, you will read illustration. But illustration is not a form of the section. Listening or not? Illustration is a section or not a section? First confirm that. Not a section, but it will help you to understand the section. Therefore, illustration is not the part of the section, but it will be used as an internal aid for interpreting the section. Clear? Write down the notes. Though not all, point number 1, though not all, but certain sections will have, though not all, certain sections will have illustrations appended to them. Illustrations appended to them. Illustrations appended to them. Full stop. Second point. These illustrations follow the text of the sections. These illustrations follow the text of the sections, but they do not form part of the section. They do not form part of the section. First tell me, illustration is a part of the act or not? Illustration is a part of the act or not? Yes, but it is not the part of the section. Okay, next line. Point number 3. However, illustrations do form part of the statute. Illustrations do form part of the statute and considered to be relevant. And considered to be relevant. Okay. Sir, can I write the section and give example which is unrelated to that? Can I write a section below example unrelated to that? Can I give an example? You don't have a right, because illustration should carry the text of the section. That's what you have written there. When I am talking about consensus ad idem, below example is given on minor. That illustration is right or wrong? Wrong. When I am talking about consensus ad idem, you should give an example related to that. Text of the section, consensus. Example also should be related to consensus. Listening or not? Mr. A agreed to sell a horse to Mr. B. To Mr. B. But B wanted a black horse, but A is having a white horse. On the day of purchase, Mr. B cancelled the agreement, saying that he wants only a black horse. He has only white horse. There is no consensus. This is example you might have read in the foundation level. Consensus example I am giving. That means when you are reading consensus, you can't write example unrelated to that. Clear? That's what the next point is. Last point. Write down. However, illustrations cannot modify the language of the section. Illustrations cannot modify the language of the section. Cannot modify the language of the section. Did you understand the meaning of each and every line? Sir, don't mechanically write the points. Did you understand in writing? Next. What we completed now? Illustrations. Next one. How many completed out of 9? 5 completed. Okay, how many are still there? 4. In that, we are going to cover small things first. Write down. Explanation. Explanation. Okay, now listen carefully. I will first explain. After that, you write. Listen. You know what is a definition? You know what is a definition? Definition defines the meaning of the terms. Definition defines the meaning of the terms. Listen. There are 2 types of definition. Definitions under section 2. Definitions in the particular section. Listen carefully. Why we write definitions in the act? Simple reason is there. Reason is, listening, when a particular word is there, that word is repeated A particular word is there. That word is repeated for 500 times in the act. There is a frequent repetition or not? Instead of defining them 500 times in 500 different places, I will define in section 2. Whenever that word comes, go back to section 2 and read it. But a particular word is defined only once in the act, in a particular section. It is better to define that word in section 2 in that particular context. That's called as explanation. Explanation is nothing but definition. But those are given in section 2, those are given in other sections. Are they explanation? Understood the concept? So simply tell me, what is an explanation? Hey, just now I told what is an explanation. Explanation is a definition only. But it is forming part of section 2, it is forming part of any section. Any section you can write an explanation. Understood the point? Write down. Explanation. Explanation is appended to. Explanation is appended to a section. Explanation is appended to a section to explain the meaning of the words and phrases. To explain the meaning of words or phrases. In any section, in that section. In that section. Words or phrases in that section. Okay. Next point number 1. Now you are writing point 2. Write down point number 2. Explanation may include or exclude something from the main section. Explanation may include or exclude something from the main section. Okay. Point number 3. So tell me now, explanation will always explain the meaning of the terms used. That's all. Explanation is not continuation to section. Explanation is not a continuation to section. Already section was completed. In that section there is a technical word that is not defined in section 2. That word only can be defined in explanation. Correct or not, everyone? Explanation cannot increase the scope of section. Explanation can give an idea about the words in the section. Tell me, there is a technical word. What explanation can do? There is a word, a technical word is there. For example, we are reading a section. There is a technical word. I don't know what is the meaning of that word. I went to section 2, not found. Explanation they have written. They will define the meaning of that phrase. They will write the continuation to the section. That's all. Explanations cannot be used to expand the sections. They can be used only to explain the meaning of the terms used inside the section. That's the last point. Point number 1 or 2 or 3? 3. Write down. Explanation should be used to. Explanation should be used to. Explanation should be used to clear the ambiguity. Ambiguity means doubtfulness. There is a word is there, you don't know the meaning. Clear that ambiguity. Explanation should be used to clear the ambiguity in the main section. But it cannot widen the scope of the section. But it cannot widen the scope of the section. Understood the point, everyone? Next. How many points we completed? 6 points we completed. 7. What is the 7th one? Schedules. 7th one, write down, schedules. Okay, listen. Sir, do you know the P&L account and balance sheet format? What schedule? That we are going to discuss now. Schedule 3 to which act? Income Tax Act. That's all. Schedules form part of the act or not? That's what he is writing. Write down. Very easy here. Write down. 3 points will come. Point number 1. Schedules are forming part of the act. Point 1. Schedules are forming part of the act. Point 2. They should be read along with the sections. They should be read along with the sections for the purposes of interpretation. They should be read along with the section for the purposes of interpretation. Okay? Completed. Point number 3. Listen first and then write. Okay? Listen. CSR, have you heard about CSR? CSR mandatory or optional? For applicable companies, mandatory. My net worth 500 crores or more, turnover 1000 crores or more, net profit 5 crores or more. Mandatory to have a CSR committee and CSR spending or not? What areas you have to spend? Which areas you can spend for CSR? It was given in Schedule 7. It was given in Schedule 7. Schedules can't override the section. For example, CSR has a motive. How much percent you have to transfer? 2% of your average net profits of 3 immediately preceding financial years. Scheduler, they can't write 3%. Schedule cannot override the section. Schedule is something like illustrations only. It can be used to understand the section, but it cannot override the scope of the section. Clear, everyone? Write down. Write down. Schedules cannot control or override the act. Schedules cannot control or override the act. Override the act. Okay? If any dispute comes between sections and schedule, who will win? Sections A should prevail. That's the last point. Point number 4. Point number 4. If there is a inconsistency between, schedule and the act, who will prevail? Act will always prevail. Act will always prevail. Okay? That's it. How many are completed? 7 are completed. Anyway, act should be read as a whole. Don't read. I said that's not required. Mainly one point is still pending for us. What is it? Definitions. What is it? How many? Totally how many we have written? 7. Proviso is also pending for us. Right? Write down. Proviso. One question will come pakka from internal aid. Take it for granted. 100% one question will come from internal aid. One question will come from external aid. One question will come from rules of interpretation. Totally 10 marks. 4, 4, 2 or 5, 5, 2 questions sometimes, or 4, 3, 3. Any type question can come in exam. Clear? But will come for 10 marks to 12 marks in exam. Listening? Tell me, what we have to write now? Proviso. I will first explain, after that you read. Proviso will always start with the words, provided that. Bare Act, if you read, starting lines of the section will be, provided that. Whenever I use the word provided that, it's an indication that it is a proviso. Understood the point? Proviso, what it will do? It will give exception. It will give exception. Okay, what do you mean by that? I will explain. Main provision says like this. Every company shall conduct 4 board meetings every year. Over. This is the main section. Proviso. Provided that it is enough if a Section 8 company conducts 2 board meetings. Now tell me, what the main section is saying? conduct 4 meetings. What Proviso said? Exception to Section 8 companies. It is not required to conduct 4. It is enough if they conduct 2. That's how the exceptions are created. Listening or not, everyone? Answer. Second type. How Proviso can be used? Second one. Shall we? I will tell this way. Managing director of a company will be appointed by the board of directors. Will be appointed by? Over. One line. Proviso. Provided that. Repeat. Company shall file Form MR1 within 60 days of appointment. Now you should tell me the answer. This is an exception, additional condition. Did you understand what I said? First case, every company should conduct. But Section 8 company? Proviso in the nature of exception. Second, MD will be appointed at? The answer, MD will be appointed by board of directors. Within how many days of appointment? 60 days. You should file Form MR1 with the ROC. Now tell, this is an exception, additional condition. That's what I want to tell. Proviso can be used for 2 things. Number 1, to create exception to main section or to qualify the main section. Qualify means increase the scope. Listening, write down. Proviso. Point number 1. The main function of a proviso is to give exception. To give exception or to qualify something stated in the act. To qualify something stated in the act. Point 1 completed. Point 2. Point 1 completed. Point 2. A proviso is a part of main section. A proviso is a part of main section. Full stop. Next point. Provisos will always begin with the phrase. Provisos will always begin with the phrase. Tell. Keep in the quotations, provided that. Okay? Last point. In general, a proviso is used to qualify or create an exception. To create an exception to what is there in the enactment. To what is there in the enactment. To what is there in the enactment. Okay? That's the main point. How many are completed now? 8 are completed. Totally how many we have to read? 9. What is the only thing I didn't cover now? We are not even going to cover that now. That requires some sort of explanation. We'll discuss later. Okay? Up to here, everyone understood all the internal aids clearly. Ide time taking. Remaining are very easy to understand, easy to complete as well. The main content of this chapter contains in one area. What is that? Internal aid. You understand that itself is for 4.5 pages in your notes. That we summed up into 8 points totally. Okay. 9th point onwards, the definitions onwards, I will discuss in the next session. First 1.5 hour, I will complete that and then only I will go. Okay. Main point is the agenda. One small thing is still incomplete for us. I will first continue with that. I am closing this particular session with this area. Next 1.5 hour in the tomorrow session beginning, I will first start with interpretation. I will cover that, I will complete it. After that, we will go to the remaining agenda. Clear?